Good evening. Welcome to the Bertha Pitts Campbell Equity Awards presented by YWCA Seattle King Snohomish. I'm Lauren Dupree, your host for tonight's event. To everyone tuned in right now from the Pacific Northwest and beyond, welcome. Since we aren't in the same room, please use the chat to say hello. Share your location and make this a real party. Don't be shy. And if you have a question, there are chat moderators ready to help you out. So let's see. Oh, hello. Someone's saying hello to me. We have people coming in from Seattle. Where else are you guys coming in from? I'm going to continue to check in with the chat so I can interact with you throughout the evening. Clyde Hill, all right. Now, I'd like to acknowledge that we're broadcasting from Seattle, which stands on unceded territory of the Coast Salish peoples. We honor with gratitude the land itself and pay tribute to the Native peoples, past and present, who have been stewards of this land for countless generations. We also acknowledge the forced labor and sacrifices of the enslaved African Americans who built our country. We must continue to recognize the harmful legacy of colonization on Black, Brown, POC, and Indigenous communities, and stand together in the fight for equity and justice. Over the next 30 minutes, we're going to celebrate the legacy of Bertha Pitts Campbell, enjoy performances by local artists, and hear from our 2021 Equity Champions. After that, look in the chat for a link to the after-party breakout rooms where you can keep celebrating and socialize with the honorees and guests. All right. Okay, so I see we have some more people from Marinton, Queen Anne, Edmonds. All right. Namibia? Okay, all right. More people from Seattle. So thank you for continuing to shout out where you're coming from in the chat. Cougar Mountain, Redmond, all right. I'm loving the interaction in the chat, so keep it going. Now, it's my honor to introduce our first performer, Aviana Rodriguez Brown. Aviana is a multidisciplinary artist who tells stories about being multiracial, exploring queerness, and working through extraordinary challenges. Aviana has led healing workshops as well as toured with a solo show. Through ongoing projects, Aviana aspires to educate on self-awareness and the benefits of art alternatives when dealing with everyday stresses. Please welcome to your screen, Aviana Rodriguez Brown, performing the original spoken word piece, Together We're Great.
Hair curls which battle and intertwine, packed with knowledge beyond my years and intuition to keep my third eye wide. Eyes filled with the hopes and wants and dreams our ancestors dreamed of. We are our ancestors' wildest dreams. I wonder if I am the only one in an intertwined bloodline to which anxiety infects my mind from time to time. For generations, stress could be found in piles of pulled out hair threads, bitten off fingernails, papers torn to shreds, overeating, indulgent drinking, drug addiction, and self-hate, still battled to this very minute of this very day in each one of us. Skin brown from the moment I emerged, or was it not Black enough to fit in? Were you too dismissed for being too far sun-kissed, separated by laws and the stares of white men and women, telling you all the things you couldn't do for generations and generations and generations and generations, and still to this day we could be lynched in the streets or betrayed by those clouded by self-hate? But because of a few like those who we honor here today, things have changed. Because of a few like you who stood up, we can now sit and drink and marry whomever we choose. Because of a few like you who listened to the voices in their heads and tried to make sense of what was being said, you spoke out and rallied for us. Because of a few like you who explored ways to express, we now create and manifest and believe in the ability to live freely. Because of a few like you, they live on in each one of us, in our breath, in our voice, in our hair, in each choice we make on a day-to-day, we represent them. For generations, our ancestors have waited, cried, and screamed and dreamed of us here, now, with the rights we have won and the ones we will soon take back. For generations, our ancestors have waited patiently for someone like you. I, here and now, with these friends as my witness, I welcome our ancestors to guide us, to warn us, to help us, to use us, to be in, around, and through us. We will not give up on this journey towards equality. We will not stay silent in moments of injustice. I welcome you and the Great Spirit to express our message to the world in every avenue we choose and gain access to. Because together, we are great. We are knowledge. Together, we are great. We are power. Together, we are great. We are unstoppable. Together, we are great. I'll share.
Thank you so much, Aviana, for those powerful words. And I saw a lot of you in the chat repeating the words, because of a few like you and together. Yes, so keep it going, keep interacting in the chat. We love to see it. I'd like to take a moment to recognize some of our partners for this event, starting with tonight's sponsor and longtime YWCA supporter, Rick Steves Europe. Did you know that Steves donated a $4 million apartment complex to YWCA in 2017? Many thanks to Rick Steves Europe for taking action and supporting women and family in the region. I'd also like to thank the Bertha Pitts Campbell Equity Awards Committee members listed on screen. This group of YWCA board members and community partners played a critical role in selecting the 2021 award winners, and we're grateful for their leadership and guidance. YWCA is on a mission to eliminate racism and empower women. YWCA works where they're most needed, most with people facing barriers to safety, equity, and opportunity. With more than 20 locations across 2 counties, YWCA's programs address housing stability, economic advancement, health, and safety. Help support YWCA's work by making a gift online. You can use the link being shared in the chat right now, or you can text YWCA to 24365. Next, I'm thrilled to introduce a powerhouse who many of you already know quite well, YWCA's Chief Executive Director, Maria Chavez-Wilcox.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of YWCA and our family, we'd like to thank you for joining us to celebrate the first ever Bertha Pitts Campbell Equity Awards. Equity is at the heart of our mission. We are focused on eliminating racism and empowering women each and every day. YWCA's programs work to ensure that every woman in our community has the opportunity to build a safe, stable, and healthy life of her own choosing. For 127 years, we've helped tackle systemic barriers head on, barriers that make it harder for women to thrive and lead right now. And the harmful impacts of inequity on the daily lives of women in BIPOC communities are clearer now than ever before. Every one of us have a role to play in the fight for justice. And tonight, We are here to celebrate those across our community who are making a difference for women and girls. The Bertha Pitts Campbell Awards are named after an incredible woman who played a critical role in YWCA's history through her commitment to equity. She was a student at Howard University in 1913, where she co-founded the Delta Sigma Theta sorority. She led the fight to desegregate YWCA's board of directors. And after years of protest, she became the first African-American woman to serve as a full and equal board member of any YWCA across the country. Now that is something to be proud of and something to celebrate. In her honor and her legacy, we are here to recognize people and partners who continue to lead that vision of her work today. Our rising champion is a passionate youth leader who co-founded a nonprofit to break down barriers in climate change education. Our community champion is setting an example in advocating and mentoring, who has created opportunities for BIPOC women to lead for more than a decade. And our business champion has created and led programs for social justice across their industry and our entire community. We are here to uplift their voices and express our gratitude for their contributions and achievements to help our YWCA in the fight against injustice, which requires every single one of us. And the time to act, ladies and gentlemen, is right now. I would like to thank all of our honorees and all of you for strengthening our mission. We are here to all empower women and eliminate racism. Now, it's my great pleasure to introduce you to the 2021 first ever Bertha Pitts Campbell Award winners. The Seattle Storm, Debbie Bird, and Kavya Varkey. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and congratulations. We are so grateful to each and every one of you.
This means a lot. I know we're really trying to make a change, and that the fact that you guys are honoring us, it's great to get awards, but what that award really means and the work that we've put in and the change that we're really trying to create and the impact that we're trying to have is really happening. And for someone else to see that and recognize it, it means the world to us. Every workplace needs diversity, they need inclusion. It's just so important, because when you have people who don't look the same or don't come from the same backgrounds, you have different opinions, and your business does better when you have diversity. So it's extremely important, especially with women's basketball. I mean, hourly at the WNBA is, I think, 75% Black women. So even at the leadership level, it should reflect that. So it's extremely important for people to see others or leaders who look like them. I think people are finally realizing the discrepancies that go on and how certain groups of people of color, are left behind. And I think companies nowadays, people will, just speak on racism now. Like before in the past, people didn't want to say Black Lives Matter. People didn't want to talk about racism. And I feel like now companies are really embracing that, and that's really creating a change in society. Honestly, I'm just really proud to be a part of this organization. I would always say, even like before Black Lives Matter got it was okay to say it, our organization, our owners, they always had our back with those things. So for me, it was just like, we didn't just jump on board recently, but we've been about that action. The WNBA's been about that action. And I'm just honored to be a part of it.
When Leslie told me about the award, I was like, well, exactly who is she? So I went back and I just read everything I could find on her. And she is a miraculous woman. I mean, and I'm thinking, now how do I measure up to her? And then I started looking and reading, and I was like, she was on the Urban League board. Oh, me too. And then, she worked with the YWCA. Me too. She had to stand up for injustices where, she wasn't given the privilege to vote. And I was thinking about my experiences, feeling those things that I needed to stand up. And I was thinking that's what she lived for. And it made me so proud to be honored in this way with this woman who has done so much for so many. I'd like to take this moment to thank the leadership at the YWCA. Lisa Shears, chair of the board. Maria Chavez-Wilcox, the CEO. Leslie Jones, chair of the awards committee. And I want to thank all those that nominated me for this award. I realize that I am one blessed woman, and I thank God for each of you. Thank you.
I think I really appreciate that this award is going to something like that has to do with climate justice. A lot of climate activists look at the climate as an isolated issue, and they're just trying to solve the symptoms of the problem, which are just seeing climate change happen. They're not wanting to work on the root issue, which is these inequities in society that have pushed Indigenous people out of their land, which have disenfranchised Black people, and have prevented them from having a real place in this movement. So I think this award, this racial justice award, having any sort of focus on climate activism is so important, because I really hope that we can start drawing the connection between real racial justice and climate justice, and showing that you can't really have one without the other. One of the bigger changes I'm looking forward to is this kind of grassroots movement, which I see becoming a bigger thing amongst youth. I think it's great to see so many organizations working on racial equity or climate justice that are started at the grassroots by students. And I love that students are not waiting around for policy changes to implement the change that they really want to see for social good. So I'm really excited to see these movements pick up, to gain fuel, and for the older generations to start supporting them, and for us to actually be able to see the changes that we're fighting for at the grassroots level.
As a graduate of Howard University and a former Seattle Storm ball kid, I am so honored to be your event host tonight. Thank you so much to our honorees for your leadership in your communities, and to all of us here. Maria, thank you for sharing the story of Bertha Pitts Campbell. She truly made a lasting impact on so many lives. To any Deltas in the house, let's see you in the chat. I'll be looking to see what you guys have to say. I'd also like to shout out a few of tonight's guests who actually knew her: Beverly Gayton, Shirley Guilford, and Rivian Smith. If we missed anyone else, let us know in the chat. Rivian was also a longtime board member and built on her legacy, becoming the first Black woman to serve as YWCA's board chair. All right, let's see. Someone saying, hey, Delta's in the house. All right. Black women now make up 1/4 of YWCA's board, and nearly half of the 29 members are BIPOC women. It's time to bring our honorees out for a live panel discussion, and we want to hear from you. Just click the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen and type your question for our speakers. Tonight's Q&A will be facilitated by Amelia Ransom, a member of YWCA's board and the Equity Awards Committee, and Senior Director of Diversity and Engagement at Avalera. Please welcome Amelia and the 2021 award winners, Debbie Bird, Kavya Varkey, and General Manager of the Seattle Storm, Talisa Rhea.
Thank you so much. It's so good to be here with all of you. I wish I could just reach out and just give you all a high five and hug you, but here we are. Each one of you as our honorees reflects the spirit of Bertha Pitts Campbell in a different way. And I'd like to share some of the highlights of your work with our guests. Our 2021 Rising Champion, Kavya Varkey, helps other young people see themselves as leaders. She co-founded IPEC, the International Peer Education on Climate Change, while she was in high school. She researched the impact of environmental restoration on marginalized communities with NOAA, and consistently brings an equity lens to the climate justice movement. Debbie Bird, our 2021 Community Champion, has spent decades in the fight for equity. As board chair of the Northwest African American Museum, She challenges racial injustice and celebrates Black history. She's also dedicated countless hours to mentoring Black, Indigenous, and other women of color and youth in our community, from NAM to the UW Foster School of Business. And finally, we recognize our championship-winning Seattle Storm, our 2021 business champion, for promoting equity on and off the court. They're the founders of Force for Change, a social justice platform, and they've also partnered with local companies to amplify and invest in the work of women, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, and the LGBTQ community here in the Puget Sound. We're joined tonight by Talisa Rhea, General Manager, who I understand is in Atlanta right now with our team. So before we get to your questions in the chat, I wanted to talk about what drives each of you. So Debbie, I'm going to start with you. Was there a specific moment or experience in your life that helped you decide that equity was going to be a central part of your work?
Well, being a person of color, there were many doors closed to me. Doors I wanted open. I worked hard through education, my work experience, and friends that mentored me. Those doors became opened. And I wanted to open them for others. And I wanted to dedicate my life to opening those doors because there are so many people just like me that look like me. And because somebody took me under their wing, it was time for me to give back. And I was fortunate enough to hold positions where I could put money back into the community. I was out in the community for young people to come and ask me for advice on the resumes. It was just so rewarding to see them grow and then for them to give back. So many doors are being opened, and that's how it is. That's how we have to do it.
Debbie, you are reminding me of the adage in scripture, to whom much is given, much is required. And so you are truly living that every day. Thank you so much for your work in our community.
Thank you.
I want to come to you next. You get to travel all around. You're traveling with our team right now, but you're hyper-focused on those things that are affecting the Puget Sound. What are some of the biggest challenges to equity that you see in our community today?
Yeah, I think, first of all, I just want to say I'm very fortunate to be here on behalf of the Storm. There's a full team of people behind this award, so I'm happy that I get to be here tonight with you all, but just very thankful to be a part of the Storm organization. I think one area that we've been really focused on this year is providing equitable opportunities for trans youth, especially as it relates to sport, but finding space for them to feel like they can be themselves and that they will still have opportunities in doing so. So that's been a major focus for us this year, and we continue to try to make an impact in every way that we can.
Thank you so much. And you're certainly making an impact, and you are making baskets also. So we thank you for one of those things. I'm paying attention. I love this team. Kavya, I want to finally come to you with a question. What are you most hopeful for in the work that you're doing right now?
Well, I think ultimately, I'd really like to see policies, systems, technologies, innovation, it's all put in place by and for our marginalized communities in the field of climate change. I think currently we see that the loudest people and the ones who have the most power in the climate movement are those who are majority white, very highly educated, and well-to-do. And we know very well that those are not the people who are going to be impacted by the climate crisis as much as the rest of our communities. And I really want to see youth from our marginalized communities being empowered at a young age and feeling like they not only belong, but are appreciated and needed in the climate movement. So I'm really looking forward to continue working with youth, with people who are just like me, and really bringing them into a space where they can actually make a difference.
I just want you to know, while you were speaking, I don't know, people probably didn't put it in the chat, but every one of us was like, wow, what am I doing with my life and my time? If
right.
doing? Like, what am
Y'all
I
are doing amazing things.
Right. I just want you to know that that was what's happening in everybody else's head. So somebody may have to go back and listen to this recording to hear what all the wonderful words that you actually said, because that's what I was doing as well. So
thank you.
Double down on my own efforts also. For each of you, as part of your award, one of the things that occurred as part of your award is that YWCA is allowing you to donate $1,000 to the organization of your choice. So Debbie, I'm going to start with you. Can you tell us which organization you selected and why?
With me?
Yes.
Oh. My gift went to the Northwest African American Museum, where I'm a board chair. And NAM is a place to heal, a place to bring people together, a place to ponder our future by learning of the past and moving us to an equitable future. We build the future and celebrate the past through our exhibits, our programs, and our investment into the community. NAM is a home for all. And I'm just so proud. It's beautiful and our programming is fantastic. And we have young children to very elderly and scholars, and, you know, and just to feel that beauty and the knowledge and the safeness there. It's a joy. It really is a joy.
Thank you, Debbie. I think Lanisha has joined us this evening to be here in support of you. And I would echo what you're saying about our Northwest African American Youth. It really is a place that it feels like a shared space. I'm impressed with how you've been able to pivot in this time and really keep the connection to our community going. So thank you so much for the work that Lanisha, that you and Debbie are doing at NAM. We see you, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for that.
And the amazing staff, for
sure.
They work so hard, and it's a small staff, but they're mighty.
That's for sure. Kavya, I want to ask you the same question about where you want your, where you are donating your funds, but there's also a question in the chat for you. So let me read it really quick. Kavya, what climate action policies would you advise other young people to advocate for as a priority? So if you can tell us, you can answer that question and then also tell us about the organization you selected.
That's a really good question about the policies. And that's definitely a hard question. You know, I'm in school right now to try and learn more about environmental policy. And so that's definitely a question that I'm always asking myself. But I think one baseline policy that would be really incredible is one where we implement climate change curriculum into every school, so that students who are in school right now don't have to take an elective class to learn about climate change, but that climate change is part of their science curriculum, because these are our youth and they deserve to know what's going on as they go into the real world. So I think that's a great starting point, is one where our youth are educated. And in general, I would say supporting policies where we are uplifting marginalized communities and thinking about just their basic needs as well. Climate policy doesn't have to necessarily be, not all policies that we support need to be just about the climate change. We need to speak about the basic rights of people, and when they have that, they can really focus on climate change as well.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. And then for the other question about where I'm donating my $1,000, which was so generously given by the YWCA, thank you so much. So I was talking about earlier that we really want to make sure that youth feel that they're not only needed, but that they're appreciated in the movements, especially in the climate movement. And so at IPEC, you're going to be using this $1,000 to create 2 paid internships for low-income youth who want to be peer educators in our program. In an ideal world, the only gratification anyone would want or need is simply knowing that they made an impact. But we know that in today's world, with the disparities that exist, we do not want our students to be choosing between taking on more hours at a part-time job and working on climate change, which they might be very passionate about. So we want to make sure that we can fund them and pay them for their time, because they are so impactful and they're really changing our community.
Thank you, Kavya. That is fantastic. What I heard you really saying about our policies is think about who benefits from the things that you're voting for. Dig a little deeper before we just sign up for the top line view of what we understand or know about something or what's being told to us about something. So thank you for the reminder to do that. And thank you for the work that you're doing at IPEC. I suspect you're going to get a few more donations to that work. I just suspect
that would be amazing.
Here with Bunny, they can help fund you as well. Thank you so much for that. There's another question in the chat that I want to get to before I come to Talisa about your organization that you selected. Debbie, I want to come to you with this question because you've been doing this work for some time. And the question reads, what are your ideas for how to make connections between different generations of folks working for equity?
You have to bring them up. I mean, I remember the person that mentored me when I was like 27, she was 60. And there is just so much knowledge, things that they can help navigate, help you navigate the system. And we just have to reach back, and those in leadership positions, it's our obligation to reach back and find the young women like Kavya and, you know, Kavya, I hope I said your name. Kavya. And I mean, look at her. I mean, it's like, oh, I want to help her. I want to help her. And there's many just like her. And then when she has a connection, she'll go, oh, I have a friend, or my friends, or my brother, or my sister, or, you know, my girlfriends, you know, and that's how you do it. It's reaching back and joining organizations to do that.
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you so much for that. Talisa, there's a question in the chat. I'm going to bring it to you, and then you can talk to us about your organization that you selected as well. The question reads, what have you found to be the most impactful or high leverage activities that have enabled you to drive the change that you wish to see in the world? So Talisa, I'll come to you with that question, and then if you can also tell us who you are donating the $1,000 to, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think one of the most impactful things is being able to use our players to be out in the community and making an impact and able to share their stories and their experiences. And I think they are relatable to so many individuals within our community, and that aspect really helps.
Uh-oh, is she frozen for y'all? Okay, great. I didn't know if it was me or her.
Using our organization as a whole to really amplify voices in the platform has really helped us make a greater impact. And for our $1,000, we'd also like to say thank you. We're really grateful to be able to pass this along. We selected the Powerful Voices, which is a local nonprofit that builds safe space for girls of color to share their truth with the world. They provide a sense of community and a sense of sisterhood that really empower each other. They also have programs around social justice to better understand communal knowledge and platforms to be able to speak up and use their voices at such a young age. So we are really grateful to be able to make that contribution to Powerful Voices and the incredible work that they continue to do.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Powerful Voices. I have definitely heard of them, and they are doing great work. So thank you for supporting our community. Thank you for all of the love and light that you bring to our community as well. So thank you so much for representing the Seattle Storm here. You know, here's to another win and another win and another win and another win. So thank you so much. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Debbie and Kavya and Talisa for participating in this conversation. I want to thank you for the work that you're doing, for inspiring us so much, for really putting yourselves out there to bring change to our community, and that our community can be a beacon in our country and in the world. So thank you so much for everything you're doing. Lauren, with that, I'll pass the mic back to you.
Thank you.
That was an amazing conversation. And what an incredible group of women. Thank you for sharing your experience and insight with all of us today. If you're inspired by their passion like I was and commitment to equity and justice, help support YWCA's work by making a gift online. You can use the link being shared in the chat right now, or you can text YWCA to 24365. Next up is the incomparable Seattle soul singer and Black auntie, Audra Boo. Audra Boo is a performer, songwriter, and MC, formerly known as one half of the electro-funk duo Fly Moon Royalty. She performs regularly as a featured singer for musicians like Eric Blood, Vox Mod, Massey Ferguson, and Andrew Jocelyn. Currently, she is a member of Seattle's new wave noir band, Hotels, and is doing more and more solo exploration, further proving not even the sky is the limit. Take it away, Audra Boo.
Longest wind in history. Are you still here talking? I regret to inform you, I left a long time ago walking. You've taken enough space and my patience is waning. Do you see the crown that I'm wearing? The proof that I don't have to take this now. Shh. Listening is a skill you clearly don't come with, and frankly, I don't have the time to teach you. If you want to sit at my table, you got to do better. If you want to sit at my table, you got to be on my level. If you want to sit at my table, you got to be on my level. If you want to sit at my table, you got to be on my level. If you want to sit at my table, you got to be on my level. If you want to sit at my table, bring yourself up to my level. Holy royalty, the body's in my house. If you don't roll with queens, you have no place in my castle. If you want to sit at my table, you better come with elevation. If you want to sit at my table, forward moving motivation. If you want to sit at my table, you better be able to see me. These queens and the kingdoms we're reigning, no F's will be given, no mess will be taken. Oh, if you want to sit at my table, you got to be on my level. If you want to sit at my table, you got to be on my level. And if you want to sit at my table, you want to be on my level. If you want to sit at my table, bring yourself up to mine.
Thank you, Audra Boo. And I want to say thank you again to our incredible honorees, Debbie, Kavya, and the Seattle Storm, as well as Maria, Amelia, Aviana, and Audra Boo. Make sure to join YWCA at the upcoming Inspire Luncheon on September 14th. Our keynote will be Stacey Abrams. Learn more at ywcaworks.org/luncheon. Our program is ending now, but the fun is not over. Please join us at our after party on Zoom, where you can join a breakout room with our honorees and have conversations, congratulate them, and learn more about their work. To attend, all you need to do is click on the link we are providing in the chat. The link will open a new Zoom meeting window. Please join us and let's keep the conversations rolling. I'll see you over there. Bye for now.